I'm going to be talking about how to start being. Now, let me start that. Let me start that again because I can't talk today. Hi everyone, it's Jaden. Welcome back to my channel. On today's video, I'm going to talk about how to start a fitness routine or being more active or using physical activity as part of your recovery. I'm going to talk about, I'll break it down in the different phases, kind of what I did as far as exercise and fitness that worked well and what didn't work well. Also, now that I'm fully recovered, how I was able to continue to get myself more and more back into the physical condition and fitness that I used to be, and hopefully beyond. If there's a lot of interest in this video, I will go ahead and actually break down each phase and go into even more detail on what to do, what not to do, like the different exercises, set rep schemes and stuff like that. And I will apply my background, which is personal training, into those videos if there's an interest. But today's more like kind of key points and broad view of the whole thing. So I'll start with phase one, and that is going to go by super quick because phase one, I do not recommend you doing any type of physical activity, not even yoga, not even walking. I mean, you just had your crash. Oh, again, if you don't know what I'm talking about with the phases, check out my 5 phases video concept I came up with about the health crash recovery. So phase one, don't do it, guys. I don't recommend it. Again, I am not a doctor or a trained therapist. I am a certified trainer, and I have a background in kinesiology, but I'm not a doctor. I'm not. You could do what you think is right for you and definitely consult with your own medical professional before taking on any health or fitness advice, especially if you're going through a health issue. Highly recommend to check in with your doctor first. Phase one, rest. You need more rest than anything else, so I would just write off on any type of routine or anything like that for phase one. Starting in phase two, you can start to do the most mild versions of stretching, maybe a little bit of yoga, maybe some very mild walking. But mild, I mean, and this is especially if you have a type A personality where your perspective on what's mild and moderate and extreme is skewed, right? So you need to check in with yourself. I definitely fall in that category. So for a long time, in fact, most of my life, my perspective on what's too much and what's not enough was very different than most people in most things. I really had to check in with myself. So definitely in your physical activity, fitness, pick in phase two, in the beginning of phase two, very, very mild, like 5 minutes of stretching, okay? Maybe like walk around your block. Things that you will be like, why would I even do this? This is nothing. It is something, and it's just the right amount when you're super fragile and your body's trying to really recover from something that's very stressful. I mean, you don't have more energy than that. And if you try to do more, most of the time, if not every time, you will have a setback. So save yourself that stress of setback and another crash. Just do tiny bit to start with. As you move through phase two, you just kind of have to adapt. Like if you feel a little bit more energetic, you've been going on a walk around your block once, then I maybe do it 1.5 times and then just build from there. I'm not going to get into super specifics like I said in this video, but just use your common sense. Start gradual. The key here is start gradually, work your way up very, very slowly. And you got to check in with yourself, like how you feel. Your mind might have a perfect plan mapped out for you as far as your progression, and it seems logical, like, oh, well, 1 block today, and if I feel better, I do 1.5 block tomorrow, and so on and so on. I should smoothly progress. Well, it's not that simple sometimes. Sometimes you've been doing, I'll keep using the block as an example, but sometimes you've been doing, a block around your house and it's been fine. And you've been progressing to 2 laps or 2 rounds or 2 blocks and it's been fine. And suddenly you move up to the next progression and you don't feel as well and it's too much. Well, you scale it back. It's moment to moment. You gotta go with what your body is telling you, because your body is a supercomputer machine, biological machine that knows moment to moment what is happening. Your mind, on the other hand, can only know so much. So you have to work with both, You kind of have to, especially when you're going through this health crash recovery, you gotta just do your best. And you got to work with your mind. You got to work with how you're feeling, your feedbacks, your body, what's telling you. Don't neglect that. Don't think like, oh, well, this is my plan and I should just push through it. Again, think about it. Isn't that what you've been doing for your whole life? And you keep pushing through it and eventually gave you a health crash? It was for me. So I would really listen to that body response. You move through phase 2, so you progressively, gradually do more. Then as you move into phase 3, you can start to do more like, actual like exercise. Maybe do 10 squats, body weight squats, and that's it. And you add that on top of, the walking that you've been doing. Maybe walk a little faster, maybe walk uphill. Again, no specifics here. You will know how to progress yourself if you check in with yourself and just use common sense on what's like a harder activity to do next, and just be gradual. The best tip that I could give you is just start small, work your way up really, really, really slowly. So as you move through phase 3, you will notice that you can do more. And so as you do more, as you do add exercises, here are some really key tips. Exercises that causes you to have to push. So you could do, you could be doing, let's just take push-ups for example, okay? If you're comfortable with doing 10 push-ups, doing 10 push-ups is not gonna get you into that threshold where you have to push. And that's what I mean by pushing. I don't mean actual pushing. I mean, you have to use like your might. You have to use more of your cardiovascular system. It's like you have to push through a certain, like when you introduce a certain amount of stressors onto your body, it'll come up to a point where it's not what your average comfort level activity level is, or physical condition is. So you have to push past that, right? So in phase 3, you do not want to go there yet. Okay, so I don't really care what exercises you pick. If it's just, it feels good, it gets your circulation moving, it's challenging somewhat. In phase 2, still no, like nothing challenging. But phase 3, a little bit of challenges. But you gotta stop. Like the challenge has gotta stop at where you feel like you have to push. Okay, like really like, and if you really, really think about it, that pushing is you're using your adrenals. Like your adrenals has to kick in to push through a stressful situation. And it's like, for me, like it just again reminds me like how important this organ is. We use it in everything, pushing through daily stress, pushing through emotions, pushing through exercises, physical activity, pushing through illness, injuries. I mean, it is working 24 hours a day for you. So when we get into the imbalance of the adrenals and the hormones and just overall systematic burnout, you get reminded of how much health and awesomeness that you've taken for granted from your body and your organs. So don't do that. In phase 3, not yet. You don't want to go to that where you have to push through. It could be, even with running, like some people start to do like light jogs and they feel good in phase 3. But as soon as they challenge themselves to a point where they have to, again, I keep using the word push through something, that is the trigger, guys. That is like, if you could call it a secret or a tip, that's what I figured out for myself. Like, you never do it to that point in phase 3, okay? Because it's because you don't have enough reserves yet. Phase 3, your system is just, your adrenals, your system is just kind of building back to like ground zero. You're not gonna have extra adrenaline or extra cortisol or extra whatever, hormones and functions stored. I mean, you crashed, you're just like crawling out of this hole to ground zero. So it is not a good idea to induce any type of those activities that is gonna deplete you in any way. And if you do, guarantee, okay, I don't want to say guarantee because, everyone's different. But for me, 100% of the time back then, including everyone I've talked to, and now there's a lot of people, if you are at that phase and you push too hard to that level of where you have to stress, you're going to get a setback. And most of the time, it comes in a form of a crash that sets you back. So none of that yet in phase 3. All right, so then we move. So you just do what feels good, what energizes you, and what leaves you feeling, energized, circulate, like you feel like your blood circulated, you feel good, you feel inspired, you feel motivated. Stop there, enjoy that, continue that in phase 3 until you move into phase 4. Now, everyone's gonna ask like, well, if you keep doing what feels good and never challenge yourself to that challenging point, how can you get into phase 4 or how can you get to the next part? Well, yes, you can. And it's so funny. I asked myself the same question, but when I finally went through it, this is my answer. Okay, guys, ready for this? Because you will feel good doing more. So it's like let's say you've been doing 15 minutes of light jogging, okay? And you've been feeling good and you're not pushing like yourself and all that. You'll suddenly do like 15 minutes and you'll be like, oh, that doesn't feel like anything. And you'll take a few steps more. Or maybe you'll just finish a half a block and you'll feel fine. And there you go. You have moved forward without having to use your might and use like a self-punishing way to like get yourself farther ahead. And that is so key, guys. That's how you naturally work with that natural recovery and progression of your body to move forward. So you don't set yourself back. Sorry, my dog is like attacking me under here. Very, very important. So as you've done more and more of that, you will find yourself naturally, and this is not going to come from you pre-planning like, okay, today I'm going to add this much more stimulus or whatever. No, you'll just be doing a workout or a fitness or a walking or a run or whatever you're doing, and you're just so into it and it feels good, you just do more. You just are more intense and you find yourself progressing without over pushing yourself. Then with more time that goes by, more of that accumulates, and then you'll find yourself in phase 4 where you're like, wow, I look back and I realize, okay, in the last few months, that's been happening, the natural progression, and now I could push. And it hasn't really given me a energy crash or blood sugar issues or give me all those crazy symptoms. Guys, that's how you got to recover, okay? It's like it finds you. Like you discover that you're recovering, not like, let me push myself, let me pre-plan and let me like continue to, because that is the old box of tool, guys. Like that is what you've been doing your whole life. Even though with the health crash, you might be scaling it back, but that is the same tool. Like you've been doing that your whole life. It's not going to work here to recover, okay? So just continue to do that. So phase 4, you will naturally come into that, like I said, and then you can now naturally without actually saying, I'm gonna go push myself. You just are pushing more. So in phase 4, you'll naturally be doing the kind of physical activity and challenges or fitness that is in that level of challenge where you're, kind of huffing and puffing and you're pushing through something challenging and you're working harder than the enjoyable level. But now it's going to naturally feel okay to you. You're not going to have a crash. Okay. I know, guys, this is not your typical, like, hey, 1 + 1 is 2 type of knowledge or direction, but that's how it works with this stuff. It's not that simple. It's not 1 + 1 is 2. It's got all these different factors. So you got to go with how you feel, and you got to go gradual, and you got to let the body lead. You got to let your recovery lead you, not you, your mind, your idea being ahead of your recovery, and then set yourself back. Because I see that in my subscribers, in my comments all the time. People who email me, lots and lots of emails. The setbacks are coming from that, guys. Okay? So those of you who don't do that recover very steadily and well, right? So I just want to bring awareness to that and save you more setbacks and help you on your recovery, hopefully. So you do that in phase 4, and then the next thing you know it, and the next thing you will be like, wow, I am like pretty good again. Like I'm myself again towards the end of phase 4. Okay. You're going to feel like you just naturally are back to yourself. You didn't try. You didn't force yourself to do the activities that you used to do. You just are naturally doing it. And it's such a great feeling, guys, for somebody who's a type A, especially, who is so used to like work hard, push more to get the results, to get that trophy, to get that award, to get that recognition, to win, to, win the match, to perform this, that. It is so different when you rebalance yourself and you get in the state of like, you just enjoy the path and the rewards are just as big, if not bigger, and the satisfaction is just as great, if not greater. And you don't have to suffer the extreme opposing consequences of the crash after you push yourself in such extreme ways. So, guys, so important, okay? If you don't take anything away from this video, which, God, it's going to be a long video and it's got a lot of me just rambling, but the key here is gradual. Start small, slow, listen to your body. Do not overdo yourself. Do not push yourself. Let your body lead and enjoy the process. You will progress, guys. Don't think just because you don't punish yourself, you won't progress. You will, okay? And you'll do it in the way where you finally feel good in moving forward. So then as you go through phase 4, you will then inevitably reach phase 5, which is like you've just been doing everything pretty much like you've been doing, and now it becomes what you've always been doing before a health crash, or even years before, like when you're at your prime or whatever. And you'll be like, how did I get here? Like, I didn't try that hard. And that is the key, guys, is that because you didn't try that hard. So you get there and you just continue to enjoy it. You can now, naturally, you'll just be inspired to do more workouts, to do more intensity workouts, and you'll be fine. You won't have a crash, and you will get more and more solid in this health, this, balanced state, and you'll start to forget the crash. You will, okay? That's also another really magical thing. It's like you'll start to, like, all those awful feelings that were so easily, you could easily tap into it, even though you're recovering. It's like that awful symptoms and all the fear and all that is so, still so close vicinity-wise, like in such close vicinity, but it'll start to fade, and that's a great feeling, guys. So you start to be normal, and then you start to forget. You forget the details. You forget the awful parts. You start to have inspiration, and you don't even think twice about having a panic attack just because you're excited now. And that, again, it moves very gradually, but more and more of that will start to happen. Okay, and then you just continue to enjoy yourself more, continue to do your routines, and naturally progress in the intensity of your fitness and all that. But you're not stressing, and you're not overdoing yourself, and you're not punishing yourself. And it's great, guys. It is really great. Really, you could really thrive when you really work on stress management in any point of your life. Like you don't have to have a health crash to, use this information to benefit. There's so many studies out there about, what is it called? Allostatic load. It has to do with stress, and just like 80%, if not more, scientifically proven illnesses are related to stress, chronic stress. And it's just, I really think that awareness needs to be brought to this subject, because there's just so much in the world right now that's like all about doing more, 24/7 stimulation, 24/7 engagement, and you're just on all the time with so many different forms of stress. Chronic stress is hitting you, and we're just not built for this. I mean, we're built for it because we're going through it, but it doesn't allow us to thrive, and it doesn't allow us to be optimal. And I want to live a life that's optimal. I don't know about you, but I much rather live a life that is optimal than to be suboptimal and just kind of hanging on and dragging on. You don't have to pick between longevity and quality. You should have longevity, a quality life that is long. So you should have quality and longevity. Okay, but that takes focus. That takes, choosing the right things. That takes discipline in how you think, your mentality, and how you approach stress and approach your everyday life. And it's a constant work in progress. Like, I'm sharing this stuff, and by no means am I perfect at it, and by no means am I know-it-all or like a guru with it. I am definitely just a student myself for all this stuff, and a practitioner. Okay, it is never done because you can't ever get it perfect. So it's never done. You just are continuing to work on yourself, and that's what keeps it eternally, like a long journey that's enjoyable throughout your life. And I think that's great, because what else are you gonna do when you get that done? Because that is life, is to, my point of view anyways, it's like living a high quality life and finding self-happiness and like inner alignment and doing what you love every day. I mean, that's life, right? So like, why would you want to hurry up and finish that and move on to what? Like, what would you move on to? Anyways, I don't want to get too philosophical, but key point here is I've already highlighted it actually quite a few times in this video. I'm sorry, this is so not scripted today. I just had this sudden inspiration about all this, and I just thought I'd make this video for you. But I do know that I have shared a lot of things that worked really well for me, and I believe it will work really well for you. Again, always encourage you to check out with your doctor, or get checked with your doctor, get reassurance from them, and rule out the serious conditions first. I hope this video will help you in different parts of your health recovery progress and overall stress management for better optimized health. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, like, and share my videos. Check out my Facebook group. Leave your comments down below. You can email me, check out my website, download my Health Crash Recovery ebook. That's on my website under the offerings tab. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Met you